"10 years ago, I would have made a good king for these lands. I would have been a fair ruler. Then he killed me. I would have made a good king. Now, I'm not so sure. Maybe, instead, these lands will suffer. I have assembled allies, the sons of my old compatriots, the rat, the pig, and the jackal sent to me from the east by those same men who healed my bones. We're going to take these lands back, piece by piece, body by body, if we must. But above all, the boy. He won't know me, won't know that I'm alive, and that I'm coming for him. He won't know until it's too late.
They woke me in the night as I slept. I had been dreaming that this was all over, that there might never be war again. "He's here," they said. "The jackal's here." We didn't know why he came, what he wanted. He attacked in the night, without warning, without honor. He didn't care who he killed. I had to get Lady Catherine out, to save her, return her to her brother, the king. There was only one way out, and that was through the jackal's troops. I fought for our lives. If we escape tonight, we live to fight another day, to recoup, to take this fight back to the jackal, to make him pay. If we fail, this whole land is doomed.
They escaped. I sent my men after them, but they found horses and rode as fast as they could. The jackal spoke to me, tail between his legs. They escaped, he said, but the castle is rubble. He said that they fled along the riverbank. I sent my spies to find them. They tell me that there are scattered troops there, gangs of peasants playing at being soldiers, who would attempt to defy me. They tell me that the boy is working with them. They try to cut my armies off, to stop them destroying more of this accursed country. My spies ask me if they should attack. End it all now. Kill him. I tell them to wait for my army to arrive. I don't want to lose this fight, not after waiting for so long. I tell them that I want to see him suffer.
We thought that we were safe. They came at dawn, and they surprised us. We thought that we were hurting them, and we were. We had 3 of these forts to escape to just for this sort of occasion. We had to prepare defenses, build walls, fortify ourselves in order to hold off the jackal's forces. We ran. Many men died that day, so many that I lost count. Eventually we found a village, and they helped us as much as they could. Word reached us that the king had been killed, slain by the jackal's men in his own castle. I comforted Lady Catherine as best I could, knowing that she must be protected. She was the heir to the throne, our best hope for peace. And yet, there was no time to rest. The people of the village needed our help.
The jackal returned and told me that they'd lost the fort, that the boy managed to rally up enough support to take one of our outposts. He asked that he might take a force and wipe the boy out now, pay him back. He said that there was another way towards the fort, that they were going to try to cut it off to hold their position. He said that he could take them now, destroy them all. I told him to do what he would, but that the boy was mine to capture, to torture, to punish for what he did to me.
We escaped, barely. We thought that we were stronger than we were, that we could stand toe-to-toe with the Jackal's forces, but we were no match, not even close. We set up camp, sent word for Longarm to meet us, to tell us what to do, how to fix this. I didn't even know if he was alive, but they found him, somehow. As good as it was to see him, there was no time for merriment. We set to work, planning how we could come back from our defeat. We discussed our forces and how many of our friends we had lost. Our armies, the army of the king, of Longarm, my own, were all defeated. The king was dead. Longarm suggested a plan that we go and find new armies, recruit powerful soldiers and troops from the so-called lords of the north. He told me of Lord Blackstaff, exiled for treason, of the Sultan, over here from the east and likely to have first-hand knowledge of the Jackal, and of the Iron Duke, in command of the forges in the northern mountains. He said that we should seek out their help and rebuild, recover, in preparation for whatever might come next. Longarm told me of safe houses we were maintaining, and I asked that he take Lady Catherine, get her to safety. He told me about the Abbey, where nobody would think to look for her. I would head to Blackstaff's lands, ask him to join our effort against the Jackal. He warned me to be careful, not to trust Blackstaff. I told him that I would do whatever it took to get Blackstaff's help. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. It's dark and cold, and we're all tired. We've been here too long, walking with no signs of life. We hear the fighting before we see it. The rats have taken control of the Northern Territory. They rule it with iron fists and weak spines. I killed their father. He left 3 bastard sons, each more terrible, more cowardly, more pathetic than the next. Rupert Silverback, the youngest, is the one charged with taking the marshlands. The soldier asked for our help to rid their castle of Silverback. He told us that Thomas Blackstaff is inside and will surely be grateful for all the help we can offer. I told him that his castle will be saved by nightfall. Blackstaff was glad to see us, or as glad as you can be to see somebody from the very court that exiled you. Once we explained that we weren't there for him, he was keen to help us out. I told him that we needed his men, his skills. He agreed to help us out, if we all survived the night. He explained that we had defeated Silverback's advance brigade. His real army fought far more treacherously, attacking at night, scurrying in under cover of darkness. And they were coming. He said that if we survived, we would have full use of his marshland rangers for our upcoming battles, and full use of his sword. With a promise like that, how could we resist? It was a good win, at a time when we needed one. Silverback escaped, retreated, cowardice coming before honor, just like his father. The marshland rangers were formidable fighters, their skills amongst the best I had ever seen. Blackstaff was a fine general as well, capable and powerful. I asked him to join us, to be my right hand for the battles that were coming. He was shocked. With my reputation, he asked. I told him that I didn't care about what had happened before. What he did going forward was all that counted. We left that morning, abandoning Blackstaff's keep for the eastern shoreline so that we might find the Sultan. We saw him before we even saw his city. We explained who we were. He explained what had happened to him. He came from the eastern lands. Prosperous at home, he was driven out by the Jackal. So he took his belongings, his family, his wealth, and he sailed for here. He brought money to the area, picked up the people's spirits. It wasn't a rich area when he arrived, but he helped the people turn their fortunes around, setting up trade routes overseas. He used his ship to sell the wares made here to other countries, and he imported their goods just as easily. Then Greytail came, the second son of the rat. He heard about the Sultan's good deeds and decided to turn them to his advantage. He invaded the city. He killed all the Sultan's most trusted men, stole the city's resources. He turned the Sultan's prize ship into a slave boat, running those same trade routes that the Sultan established, only now with a far more insidious cargo. The Sultan himself was banned from the city that he helped to grow, relegated to the wilds, forced to camp until he could find a way to rescue his family. The Sultan told us that he couldn't offer an army, but if we found a way to help him, to free his wife and children, to stop Greytail's abuse, he would help us buy war equipment from his sources so that we could take down the Jackal that much quicker. He had no men to use the weapons that he used to sell. All he knew is that Greytail never discovered where he used to keep his stockpile of weapons. I told him that we had enough soldiers to take the city back, and if they didn't know how to work these machines, they would learn on the job. We took it back. The Sultan was reunited with his family, his business re-established, his people returned to their independence. He told us that wherever we were, when we needed weapons, he would ensure that we could get them. "I'll always give you a good price," he told us, and he was good to his word. We left there bolstered, our army growing in strength and skill. We headed north, towards the Iron Mountains. Blackstaff knew where we might find the Iron Duke, commander of the Iron Forges, and our best hope for amassing new weaponry to equip our still-growing army with. We walked for days. When we arrived, the Duke welcomed us in, fed us, gave us beds. We had our first good night's sleep in weeks, and would have slept longer if we hadn't been woken up by the sound of screaming, of steel clashing with steel. It was Roger Scabcoat, the Rat's eldest son. The Iron Duke asked for our help to save them, to help protect his mine. He told us about weapons that he was working on, forged stronger than any weapon had been before, and he offered them to our men to aid in the fight. He asked us to help buy some time, to hold the Rat off at the mouth of the valley so that the Duke could get his forge working faster, build more weapons, drive Scabcoat back and away from this area forever.
They failed. They told me that it wasn't their fault, that they tried, but that his armies were too strong. I told them that I didn't know about any armies in the north, so they described them to me, described him, the one leading them all, the boy. I told them to get back there, to take those territories, to take him and to bring him to me. I told them what would happen if they failed. If they failed this, I told them, they should not bother coming back. But I wanted the north, and I wanted that forge, the marshlands, the Sultan's trade routes, and more than anything, I wanted him.
We were going to show them mercy. We were going to show restraint where they had shown none. We hesitated where they would not. We couldn't allow them to escape. I charged Blackstaff with taking a force of our men and hunting them down. He marched away, eastwards. I went south, to take back that which we had lost, to stop the Jackal before he could ruin our lands more than he already had.
I needed reinforcements. Earl Swinefoot, Bishop Redden, the sons of my old friend the pig. They called me sire, remembering what should have been. Neither of their titles were earned. Instead, they were taken, repurposed from men that their father killed. He was a loyal man, I told them. A loyal man and a powerful one. I told them about the Rat's failures and about what I would have them do. And then I told who killed their father. I told them how he ended their father's life and left them all alone, and how they might get their revenge.
They left as quickly as they appeared. It wasn't a real battle, but a test, a lure. Their small force was easily defeated by our new army, our new troops, a formidable force. We saw his castle in the distance. I didn't know why he was involving himself in this fight. And then he attacked. This was a trap, and we had sprung it. Swinefoot fled. We won, and won easily. Too easily, my gut told me. Something felt wrong. I heard Long Arm shouting before I saw him. He was distraught. He told me that he had heard rumors, rumblings about the jackal, the rats, the pigs, that they weren't working alone. He didn't even have to say his name. The wolf. Somehow, he had returned. We were planning to find a way of finding him before he found us when Blackstaff's ranger came with the latest intelligence reports. He told us that there was a force spotted marching in the direction of the abbey where Lady Catherine was being kept. We were getting ready to leave when the alarm sounded and word came that Swinefoot had returned. And he wasn't alone. The jackal was with him. We were all set to fight when we heard from the rangers that the other army had nearly reached the abbey and that it would soon be taken. We had to leave. We barely made it out alive, but there wasn't time to stop, to recoup, to gather our forces. We rode all day, without a clue as to whether the abbey had fallen yet or not, as to whether Lady Catherine was all right. They were already there, inside, waiting until we made ourselves visible. We stood back and waited ourselves for nightfall, and we readied what little forces we had to take back the abbey. And whilst we waited, we prayed that Lady Catherine was still alive. Lady Catherine explained that Reddam had escaped before we took the abbey. She cried over the vile things that he had said to her as he held her captive, the vile way that he looked at her. Long Arm told us about his castle, sheltered in the middle of the country. So far, he said, it had stood against every attack. Aside from the royal palace, he told us, it was the strongest castle in the land. The wolf, it was rumoured, had taken over that same royal palace, rebuilt it in his own ways. We were to head for Long Arm's castle and establish a way to take back the south from the wolf. We knew, getting stronger. We couldn't back down now.
They failed. Everybody fails me. The jackal said that they should die. I forbade it. I had a better plan. I told him to take the pigs and their forces and assault this new army now, to destroy it, to wipe it from the face of the earth. Long Arm's castle wasn't impenetrable. There was a back door, and if the pigs could breach that and drop the drawbridge, the jackal's army could get inside, kill them all. The only condition, I told him, was the boy. I wanted him alive. He told me that I was being weak, that I was being influenced by my personal feelings, that I should let them kill him and be done with it. I was in charge. This was my war, and I would end it my way. The jackal was weak, just like the others. He screamed that it was my own personal interest that hampered this war, that vengeance was more important to me than conquest. He said that he wanted to kill me, but I knew that he would not. He was too weak. He swore that in time he would return with a new army, take this land back from whoever was in charge when he arrived. I told him that I would be waiting for him. The pigs were as good as dead. They had retreated to their father's old castle, and this new army would follow them, I knew, and destroy them. There was only one thing I could do. I had to win this war myself. I'll see you soon, boy.
The wolf. Blackstaff returned with further proof of his power, his influence. It was hard to believe that he was still alive. I had killed him. His influence had once again torn apart this country. The battle against the jackal had been the beginning of the end, the turning point in this war. We took back the royal palace, ready to crown Lady Catherine as queen, installing her back in the seat of power. The wolf was nowhere to be found. His forces were depleted. Without his allies, he was no match for us. Word reached us that evening that the wolf had been sighted. He was in my old fortress with the rest of his army. I announced that we would leave that evening. Tonight, we would find the wolf. It was too easy. This was to be my kill. My final blow, ending what started years ago. We had been fooled. It was deserted.
I knew that he wouldn't be here, but that he would come. This just gave me the time to prepare for the attack that would be my crowning glory, my greatest achievement. We waited for him. I watched the boy and his men arrive through their secret entrance, tired and weary. I gave them time to get inside. It worked. I knew that he would chase me. He can't help but chase me. I was prepared. I used another decoy, and that idiot boy fell for it. I had him. This time, I won.